range, and actually we'll have a video coming out on this topic soon. Let's talk about the range real quick of prism hands. Obviously, this is just a generic range. Obviously, if you know Vespa's exact necklace option, which we would, but this is just going to be a blind concept. So I'm not talking about range as in like how much damage it can do. Now, obviously, yes, damage is a big thing, but like imagine range as in an imaginary number between 0, which is literally you can do nothing, and like 100. And let's just say this hand right here is like Erudition, Wartune Herald, Tome, Piercing Reality. So that hand isn't fantastic into their board. Well, except the Erudition, but if Arthur destroys one popper, that hand becomes very terrible. And these are things that you do want to measure. Yes, in theory, you can choose to pop this if they try to pop this. Get Triumph, then now you're praying that your 2 draws off of Erudition are really sick, and also if it does hit, you can get Figma Erudition and try to go from there, because you do have the Tome, right? But like that's asking for exactly good draws. So like let's talk about the draws, right? So you're gonna have that Erudition, you're gonna have that Tome, you're gonna have that Pierce Reality, and I forget the other card. Let's just say it's like a yellow Wartune. Alright, so in this hand, you would probably pitch. But see, that's actually the weird thing, is like you really wouldn't want to pitch this to throw this. Like, you would much rather pitch the Erudition to throw the Wartune Herald in this spot. Because if this hits, you have the ability to Tome. Like, you can, like, because like playing this to do this, like then like if it does get popped, you kind of have nothing, because then you're pressed into what? Pitching the Tome to boots and then playing the Pierce Reality. Like, that's not amazing. Alternatively, you could pitch the Tome. You pitch a Tome, swing either one of these, and then you have the Pierce. If you choose to play the Erudition to Halo. But again, like, what is that actually doing? So this would be like a very low range hand. Because this hand, while technically it can do a lot, it doesn't actually do much. So this would be like a 20. Versus, like, let's take this exact same thing. Let's take a very high range hand that can do a lot of different things and would almost normally go good. Let's just imagine, say, we are playing Red Herald of Triumph. We're playing Red Herald Triumph. Let's put that Erudition back in our hand again. Let's put another yellow Wartune Herald in the hand. And let's put a passing in our hand. So this hand can actually do a lot of things. If we were to keep it, we can pitch either one of these cards to play the Herald. It's going to be 7. They're not really going to be able to pop it. If they want to block it out, they're going to have to commit 3 cards or a card plus a D-React. So that's a really good trade for us. And then whatever card we're left with, we can Arsenal and just play the passing route. So that's already a good start. You can just choose to play out the Erudition by pitching this yellow Wartune Herald. You're going to have 2 cards in hand, so this technically gives the ability to Halo if you just want to try to send it right there, and see what happens. And obviously, if this hits, it's super high value because you already have 2 cards in hand. One's playable. Actually, both are quite playable in there, and you have a resource card with this passing. If you end up drawing some combo cards there, or if you draw like an ALS, you have a blue already, a natural blue to play it out. Also, you can just send the yellow Wartune Herald, because it's very unassuming. You can pitch this, send the yellow Wartune Herald, so you're going to have 1 floating. And now your opponent doesn't really know what's happening next. Like, yes, you're coming for 6, so this gives them an easy popper block or 2-card block. But then, okay, let's say they put the 2-card block. Well, now you can just pitch this blue and either And then you can send this, you can send this Red Wartune Herald, or Herald Triumph, I'm sorry. That's going to be really good. That's 13 damage you sent in 2 different ways. No, obviously, yes, you'd much rather send with this, but again, we're talking about the different things that the hand can do. Alternatively, we can even back up even further. This hand can also block with like 2 of any of these 3 cards and play the passing. This would be an example of a high range hand because it can do a lot of things and most of them are very, very good. Like the worst thing you can do in your hand is literally block 6 by passing. Arsenal, any of these 3 cards. That's the worst thing. So this would be like an 80 or 90 or something. Like the hand can you can do a lot of things here. So like imagine range. Right here, I'll give an easy way to also like think about range. So let's say you're playing against like a Kano, right? And I don't want you to think of range again as like live totals. Like yes, if you're at like 20 versus 30, like yes, like does the Kano have the damage to do this or this? Like yes, you can think of range like that. But in the sense that I'm talking about is like what are the possibilities that the Kano can do given the current game state? So let's say the Kano has their 4 cards. You're at like 28, and you just tapped out. You have no cards in hand. Well, what's the Kano's range? Well, let's look at what's previously happened. Our Kano has seen a bunch of reds because they played like a wildfire as just a 4 damage spell. They played a couple Aether spells. They played a few reds. So they're likely to see a bunch of blues. And the more blues that they have, depending again how many reds, there's likelihood they hit blues off the top still. So this could actually lower the Kano's range and the things that they can do. Versus, let's just flip it. If the Kano has seen a bunch of blues, there might be some spicy reds off the top. So this actually extends what they can do because let's think about what the reds specifically in Kano are. You have Tome, draws cards. Wildfire, Amplifier, Aether Flare, Amplifier, Blazing Aether, Amplifier. Now, well, yes, in this specific example, these all translate into more damage. But again, it's what the hero can do given this now. Now, let's say you're from your Arthur side, right? Like, what would you think that the Prism's range is right now? Well, given the fact that this is turn 1. Oh, sorry, turn 2? It's turn 2 or 3, I don't 100% remember. But you've seen 0 combo cards. They still have Halo up, but they have 0 soul. So what can we deduce from this? The longer the game goes on, the more likely to draw their combo cards. They have a limited amount of soul. In fact, they have 0. So the likelihood that they can actually combo off is low. But they do have access to trying to go for it here. So like their range would be probably like anywhere between like 35 and like 60. So like the 35 being like they're likely not able to do much here, where the 60 is if they get a good draw, they could probably go pretty ham here. So like when I talk about range in this video and range in any future videos, you guys can kind of know what I mean now.